Hi and welcome to Tweet Street. I'm Mick Tiffany and I'm a novice lizard canary keeper and breeder. Join me on my journey as I strive to breed birds good enough for the show bench. Oh, hello and welcome back to another episode of Tweet Street, episode 7. In this episode I'll be chatting about the birds, give it a little snip around the nether regions, just to help fertility during the impending breeding season. I put in a bug bomb to kill any remaining bugs that may be around in the bird room itself, and I start doing a little bit of soak seed, which I like to give the birds probably just once or twice a week at the moment, and then as they come towards having the young increase in that, they seem to like it, and it's my little technique for what I do. And so yeah, that's what we're all about this episode. We've had, well, I'll start by saying a big thank you to Mike Berlin at the Five Life Australian hobby. He sponsored me for the New South Wales Five Club membership, which was really, really very kind of him, and thank you very much for that. You might think, what's a fella sitting in his office in England waffling on about a New South Wales bird club? But they're going to be taking basically the hobby, the communication of the hobby, and into the next generation by doing various different things, so other people all around the world can join in. And I think it's a fantastic way that the hobby needs to go in, and just thinking about that, I'm in 2 or 3 different bird clubs. I'm unable to go to any of the meetings here in the UK just because of my working hours, and they often have people coming in there will do a talk, questions, answers, etc., a usual thing in a hall. Nobody even videos it. Why don't we? Everyone's got a phone with the video camera on, and we don't do the simple things that to help not just the members but other people. But these guys are grabbing it by the balls, and they're swinging it around a little bit, and they're going to wake up the world. And I really like what they're going to be doing. So hopefully other people will start thinking about what they're doing, and when they do other stuff, I'll let you know what it is, and we'll go into a bit more detail. And yeah, I think that's great. So Mike, thanks very much for the sponsorship. That was brilliant. Really made me day. And now I've got to start spending money on fifes. I've even had to have a bottle of Australian red wine to calm my nerves. You won't sort of see them one day. So thank you very much anyway. Now slightly different. I'm going to be quite brief in this episode. We've had a bit of a medical emergency in the house this week, and it got me thinking that I'm fortunate. I've got great neighbours that look after my birds when I'm not around, and I've got another bird fancier, Bob Snedden, lives 20 minutes away, and we help look after each other's things. But what have you got to in an emergency? Would people know what to do in your bird room, and have you got a plan of action if anything happens when you might not be around for a few days? So I thought it'd be a great idea for you to just have a little think. I label stuff up in my bird room, so when my neighbours come in, or my neighbour comes in to have a look, if I'm not around, he knows where the canary seed is, he knows where the foreign finch seed is, he knows where the water is and stuff. And it's just, they can be looked after if you're not there in an emergency. So it got me thinking, and that's what I thought I'd a little message, really, not a tip, but it's a message. So right, what else? Like I say, we've had the Brazilian, the poor little birds have had a bit of a trim around the tickle tackle, and I'd done this last year, and I had a really high fertility rate with eggs full. So I've done it again this year. I haven't videoed doing it, give the poor girls a bit of dignity. But as you can see, there's the scissors, and there's some of the feather. There's a lot more. They get quite a thick body of feathers. I mean, the hens will lose a lot of feather underneath when they get their brood patch. So, and they'll get extra sort of, all their blood vessels come to the front. And so when they're sitting on eggs, that keeps them at the right temperature, and they'll start incubating at the right temperature, and that's how we have our little chicks come out. But around the nether regions, just prior to all that, I give them a trim, and it worked well last year. I should do the same to the cockbirds before they get introduced, and it just seemed to help the fertility. They do get a lot of very heavy feather around that area, and so this just helps. So that's I done that. The next thing I done was, I told you about, I smear Vaseline over the backs and the sides of the cages. All the little nooks and crannies get smeared. Might tend to like walking. Well, they can't walk in Vaseline. It ain't happening. It's like a glue. So it just helps them, the spread of any mite that might get around. So what I do, once I've done all that, and just before the breeding season, I put in a little bug bomb. You see it just on the floor on a bit of foil in a terracotta pot, and I just like that. I seal up all the vents that I have, and I shut the door, and I leave that shut for a couple of hours. Now that smoke, it doesn't do any harm to the birds. Crikey, it pulls your heartstrings when you see it, because you think the first time you do it, you're worried sick. But yeah, it works fine, and that smoke goes around into everywhere else in the aviary. You might not, your furniture, places you don't normally get to. So if there are any mites or any little bugs that you don't want around, they're now history. So you start off the year knowing that you've got a good clean bird room and aviary. Obviously, you wouldn't stop them walking in the door in a nice summer's day. But like I say, I've got Vaseline around all the little apertures where they can potentially come in, and they can still come in on birds that are going in and out the aviary, of course. But we try to stop it as much as possible, and that's what I've done with the bomb, the bug bomb. I've got it off of Amazon, and they're not too expensive, but they do the trick. They're really quite good. Give the birds a bit more greens. I've had some bit more spinach. They love it. I've just chopped it, washed it, and then chopped it up, put that in. They love that. And there's a bird there, just absolutely loving digging into that. Only 2 or 3 times a week I'll give them that. And then I moved on to the soak seed. I've got this little system in place. Got this off my mate Bob Snedden. Keep mentioning him. He's a great bloke. He keeps giving me bits and bobs, tips and stuff, and we've got this. So the base of it is a sealed container. Then the other stacked up containers have all got holes in. So a simple scoop of the dry seed in, fill it with water, and then it will slowly drip through and it'll soak. Exactly what it says on the tin. And that will germinate after about 3 days. And just as those little shoots are coming through, I'll give them a really good clean and running tap water, and to make sure it's all washed off, because you can get a bit of muck in there if you're not careful. So, and they love it, and I'll give them a bit of that. And again, it's just to let the birds know at the moment that there's plenty of food on its way, different sorts of food. The lighting hours are now up to about 12.5 hours. We're getting towards breeding. The hen birds, like I say, they've had their little Brazilian. The tickle tackle's been trimmed. They're now in a cage on their own, in readiness. So over the next few days, might introduce a basket in there with a little bit of material, possibly just if they want to pick up a bit of material, see what they're doing with it. But they're in a cage on their own. So as you can see on the left hand side, the hen birds in their own cage. The cage on the right is empty. So what will happen if I'm bonding a pair of birds, then the male will be in one side, the female in the other. I'll put a different sort of grid down the middle so they can see each other, and they'll bond, and then I'll remove that grid, and off they go. They pair up, and they do their thing. Now, some of the birds I don't want pairing up, because I want one cock bird to cover. One of them's going to be covering 4 hens, so I can't afford him to bond, so he won't be going into the cage next door. So what I will use there is once the chicks have hatched, and when they're old enough, I will put the divider in so they can access through. So the chicks will be one side and the parents will be the other, and they'll be feeding through. Only when I should do that only when the male one wants to, so we'll go back in and looking at round 2, because we don't want him pecking away at the young chicks and plucking feathers. So that's where we're at the moment. So they're all ready to rock and roll. We've got a nice clean bird room, no bugs, no bits, and we'll be ready for some breeding very shortly. Thank you very much, and take care everybody. See you soon.